Okay, I think that's good. I can turn around. I got this big old sleeve on my arm, trying to squeeze out the lymphedema. That's not really what happens. But anyway, just a quick update. Um, what did I talk about last time? Oh, yeah. So, I am in physical therapy. That's what this is for. Um, I go twice a week, and um, they do massage to try to get the lymphatic fluid moving. And then they put this wrap on so that the fluid doesn't go back to where it was, and the pressure can stay there to keep what they massage out. That's the theory behind it. Beyond that, I am seeing an oncologist. Ouch. And we've decided that um, I am going to do some chemotherapy. He said that if this was the beginning of my journey, that they would probably mix 3 different chemos together, because the goal would be to try to kill the cancer, shrink the cancer, make it go bye-bye. So, but they tell me that that's not the goal, that I'm too far advanced to try to achieve remission with chemotherapy. So the goal is to just to make me more comfortable, to reduce my pain level, and hopefully to reduce the tumors in size enough that I'm not in as much pain. Here's my problem with that. And I haven't wanted to do chemo since the beginning. I still don't want to do chemo. Trust me. It just goes totally against everything that seems right to me. And none of the facts that I've learned about chemo have changed. So we know that chemo causes cancers to become resistant to chemo. And then when you get additional tumors, because chemo does cause more tumors, sometimes it can take a while, but they do cause more tumors. Those tumors will be resistant to the chemo that you've already had. So that chemo becomes useless in the process. It kind of sounds like we're throwing gasoline on the fire. It's the best way I can describe it. But there are people that have done chemo and it has helped. So it's a personal journey, and I personally have not wanted it. But my pain level has been so bad that at this point I'm willing to try anything that will reduce my pain level. My concern is if we're able to shrink the tumors, and this is an end of life thing where they're just trying to make me more comfortable till I die. That's just, anyway. I'm rambling. I don't have formed thoughts. I never go into this with a plan. This is always spontaneous for me. But anyway, the goal is to shrink the tumors. Oh, I know what I was going to say. My thought is, okay, if we shrink the tumors so that I'm in less pain, then what? Then do the tumors start growing again, and basically I've kicked myself backwards a ways and I got to repeat? what I already went through, so then the pain level starts getting bad again? I don't know. This question's inquiring minds want to know. So I'm going to be asking the doctor some questions tomorrow about that. He did say that they will probably use something called Taxol, Taxel, I believe is the name of it. And it'll just be the one chemotherapy. It is one of the chemotherapies that makes you lose your hair and can cause some side effects. So he did say that if I wanted a low dose, I could do a low dose. So I'm going to try to start with a low dose and see how I handle that. See what it produces. I'm really trying to do what I can to inflict the least amount of harm to my body and my immune system, because you need a strong immune system to fight cancer. And the fact that I've been trying to build my immune system all this time, and things I've been doing have helped. The fasting really helped to build my immune system. The chemotherapy will knock my immune system out a little bit. For how long and how much, I'm not sure. I'm going to be doing some fasting while I do the chemo, because they've done research and showed that if you fast the day before, the day of, and the day after chemo, then there's less damage to the good cells than if you're not fasting. So fasting in some way protects the good cells. So that's my plan, to do that. They're planning to put in a port for the delivery system of the chemo on the 29th. And they're also going to do a biopsy of these tumors right here. And I asked, this, why a biopsy at this stage of the game? We already know what the cancer makeup is. And he says, well, they didn't do a genetic test on the cancer. And he says, I would like to do a genetic test so that we can be most effective with the chemo that they use. So that's it, in theory anyway, that if they know the genetic makeup of the cancer, that they can target it a little bit, which I don't get, because if this is just to shrink the tumor to make me more comfortable, why couldn't it also be in part of the process of healing from cancer? Yeah, I don't know. Because if they use the chemotherapy to try to cure you or put you in remission initially, what's the difference if they're doing it toward the end? Is it the type of chemo? Is it how much they give you? Is it just how far the cancer is gone, and therefore, I don't know. I got so many questions, and I don't think anybody has all the answers. I don't even think the doctor has the answers. So, interesting breed, doctors. Interesting breed. But anyway, that's kind of my little update. So, and I'll be done with my physical therapy by then, I think. And I don't even know where the physical therapy is going to go after that. Right now, I'm going twice a week. So lately, I've been going to like 3 or 4 doctor appointments a week. I don't know how that's all going to change, because I have no idea how the chemo is going to affect me. Sometimes it takes like a week or so before the side effects start to really kick in. I'm a little terrified, to be truthful. Not that any of this journey has been easy. It hasn't. And it doesn't get easier. I think the pain is the most. Sometimes when the pain gets really bad, you really do start to think you would rather be dead than suffer that kind of pain. It's pretty horrendous, and I can't see it getting. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I do one chemo and it just makes me horribly sick, and I think, wow, this is not for me, then they said I can stop. Um, we had talked about going to CHIPSA Hospital in Tijuana, Mexico. We had some conversations with them and their doctors and their team, and it's out of our reach financially. There is a place here up by Cave Creek that's cheaper, that does the insulin potentiated therapy that I wanted, but we don't have the means for that either right now. So, as with everything in this journey, we do what we have the means to do. And whatever is in front of us at the moment, okay, this is what we're facing, this is what our choices are, this is what we can afford. Let's do this. Let's do this. And since they are telling me that I'm going to die, and although the doctor also did say that nobody but God knows for sure when you're going to die. So, even though they might say 3 to 6 months, they might say 6 months to a year, they might say 5 years survivable, whatever. Nobody knows for sure. There was somebody that I worked with whose mom got cancer. I forget what they gave her, but it was not a lot of time. She lived 8 years, and she just kept going, and kept going. And I'm encouraged by that because I don't have to listen to their pronunciations. And, it doesn't matter with some, whether they're a doctor or your next door neighbor, if they pronounce negative things over you, God's in control of all that. The same way that, Hasatan couldn't take out Job without God's permission. I don't think that any of us can be taken out of the picture without God's permission. I know people say, oh, they were taken away too early, they were taken away before their time, and all this other kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Whether it's an accident, whether it's a sudden thing, whether it's an illness that takes time, I don't think anybody can say for sure how long somebody's going to live. Some days, honestly, I think more about dying than I do living. That's just the reality. But it's not like I want to die. I want to live. It breaks my heart to think about the people I would leave behind, even though I know that I'll just become an echo at some point in time, distant memory. I'd like to think that my words would echo in the minds of my children, even though they're grown children. I certainly hope I've been a good influence for them. You can't make your kids do what you think is right. And for me, their spiritual health has always been more of a priority to me than anything else. That's always what I've emphasized, studying the Word, reading the Word, that the Word is your foundation and you can trust it, but you have to be careful how you interpret it. And that's the whole thing. So that's my little update. I'll give you little updates as we go. But I gotta tell you, I'm actually thinking about shaving my head because even though Paul said, you might not lose your hair, this particular medication, the chances of my losing my hair are pretty high. And the thought of, you know, having clumps of hair just suddenly disappear and have all these patches or something sounds devastating. Honestly, to go through that, I would rather lose my hair on my own terms and just, you know, and then all you got to deal with is the stubble. The stubble will also fall out, but it'll be the little hairs. It won't be as dramatic and frightening uh, because it'll be super short. So that was my thought. And then Paul says, well, if you're going to do that, have a professional do it. He says, you got this cute little thing back here. He says, it's like a little point. And he says, you need to keep that. Don't let them cut that off. And I'm thinking it's all going to be gone. What are you worried about, a little point? Sometimes the things we think and say is, we're funny people. And anyway, so yeah, the next time you see me, I might have just chose to shave my head in advance and in preparation for preemptive strike. One of the difficult things for me is all the weight I've lost from this journey and everything feels like it's all going bye-bye because every day I get up and the scales go up a little bit, and I know it's all this swelling. I have swelling not only in my arm, but all here, all up here, across my back, and down here by my ribs. I don't know if you can see it. Down here by my ribs, I have this. Whoops. Anyway, I have all this huge pocket of fluid around my ribs, and it goes from the back of my ribs all the way around the side to the front. And actually, sometimes it interferes with my movement because it's trying to get, instead of just fluid, it's trying to get more solid, it's changing to a more fibrous, which is what lymphedema does. It goes from kind of a liquid form to more of a solid form and becomes fibrous. And when it does that, it's not fluid anymore that you can really cause to get out of the body. It's an entirely different process and something that's a lot more difficult to do. Wow, that just looks really weird. Sorry. I'm having a moment. This feels bigger, and it's hard for me to stretch my neck up. It's pulling. Yeah. It's crazy. This whole cancer journey is crazy. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And quite frankly, I don't have a lot of enemies, if any, but hey, cancer is awful. It's just awful. And if you know somebody's gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. And just watching somebody go through it is, my hair is a mess. I can't even fix my hair because of this. I can't. Yeah, it's just, I make a lot of funny faces, don't I? I'm a funny girl. Oh, okay. I'm just rambling now, so I'm gonna stop. I will talk to you soon.